Hello. I pity you couldn't be here last week. This is Sarah's other friend Julia, who's in Maryland, and as Sarah is here as usual for week two of the Disney 100th anniversary of for Oswald the Lucky Rabbit.
Hi.
This week titled "The Rabbit That Got Away." So if you weren't here, Julia, last week we were talking about the first things Walt Disney really ever did, which was Alice in Wonderland shorts, the Alice shorts. There were made like 56 of them, and the first one he really managed to get out was Alice's Wonderland in 1923. Really humble beginnings, but anyone's got to start somewhere. And and the Winkler people decided that we're gonna keep on making more of them. And Virginia Davis, who was in the Alice shorts, she was like the first ever person to star in a Disney movie, well, Disney film. So that's kind of a unique proposition to have, even if you don't know what Disney's future is going to be down the line.
Was this one, the Oswald one, made before Mickey was invented?
I think it was
Oh
trying to
yeah,
get rid of
baby.
on the first
Oh
time.
yeah, baby. I mean, it had to. It did come before.
Because
So
it looked like the rabbit was a first draft of Mickey. Like he was like almost Mickey, but not.
well, that's kind of what the idea is. So let me just tell you the story of how this ended up coming to be.
Okay.
I obviously believe it was actually a drastic improvement over the Alice shorts, and I'm about to explain why. By 1927, the Alice shorts had run out of steam, and the distributor that Walt was with was undergoing management changes. Charles Mintz was the person Walt was working with at the time, and it was Charles that told him there were too many cartoon cats. So Walt sent him sketches of rabbit characters, and Walt provided Universal with Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. You know, Universal Pictures, the same Universal I had at a theme park. Oh yeah. 26 shorts were requested from Universal to be made by Walt Disney, and the challenge was producing them as quickly under the schedule to Universal. The first one produced, Poor Papa, was made a little over 2 weeks. Unfortunately, Universal didn't want to release the first short. Now there were convoluted interests, with Mintz wanting more gags and Universal not wanting gags. This is just jokes, little tidbits like visual jokes or spoken jokes. Yeah, same principle. Walt wanted to make Oswald uniquely Oswald. He wanted jokes that had personality, and for the characters to be believable and more three-dimensional, just something that wasn't done in a lot of cartoons during the 1920s. So that's a big reason why you have improvement on Oswald versus Alice's Wonderland.
Gotcha.
Well, technology was just evolving. This was still the 1920s. It was long ago. Oswald,
Because the hills, when it was going up and down the hills, and it was coming off the tracks, reminded me of, I don't know if you guys played the game on your phone, on a phone. It's like Flappy Bird, I think.
yeah, Flappy Bird. Yeah, I've heard of
It
that.
looked like the hills from Flappy Bird.
Flappy Bird. A lot of gamers can make a clone of that, so definitely. Oswald the Lucky Rabbit made his debut in Trolley Troubles, which as of now is in the public domain. The reception for this one had improved. Universal wrote a puff piece in its marketing saying that Oswald was a big star discovery for them. Walt had made Oswald so good, people were praising the character for how different it was compared to the other cartoons. Even rival animation studios looked at Oswald as the industry standard. I mean, some staff of the Fleischer studio were thinking, yeah, these things are good. Something's here. Staff of the studio at the time of Oswald was 22 people. Things were looking up for Walt. They used some of the money gained from these shorts to have new homes constructed. So yeah. And Walt was working so hard that Lillian felt lonely with her husband not home. Walt needed to give her a companion. Although Lillian disliked dogs, she did read chows had little odor, so it would be a good choice. Taking this to advice, Walt picked out a puppy from the kennel, fetched it on Christmas Eve, Christmas morning, put it in a hat box with a ribbon on top. This little piece of life scene would later be put in Lady and the Tramp decades later.
I didn't know that was from a real thing.
And what does that have to do anything with Oswald?
Well,
Just,
it was in the same chapter of the book I'm getting this off of. So it was just one of those moments that Walt had during the 20s and stuff. So Walt would find out that early success would come at such a great price. Charles Mintz was sick of Walt's financial requests and desire for control over the cartoons, so he approached a guy named Hugh Harman about taking over the Oswald shorts and relieving Walt of making Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. Walt was unaware of this until January 1928, when George Winkler, who was Margaret Winkler's husband, signed some of the animators to join his studio. He couldn't believe this, so it messed up some with his relationship between him and Uri Works. Yeah, Sarah, you're holding up two fingers?
They're rabbit fingers.
Yeah, okay. So, oh yeah, so he went over to New York in February 1928 to negotiate a new contract with Mintz for producing the Oswald films and considered an option to distribute it with MGM. But he was told that cartoons were on the wane. Sound familiar? Yeah, definitely. Charles Mintz inevitably diminished Walt Disney as a subcontractor, and Walt found out that Mintz was using Walt's staff behind his back. He was dismayed. He wanted to make the Oswald films himself without the middleman, but he was being pigeonholed in the corner. Later on, the animators that kind of betrayed Walt ended up betraying Charles Mintz. So Walt inevitably would love to tell that story decades later. He was like, I think he cherished that kind of story as being a good triumphs over evil type of thing, because he had that kind of notion with the various films that we're going to be covering throughout this years-long session. Well, year-long, not years long, but it means the whole year.
Yeah, it's a year about a centennial. Just roll with it.
Yes, okay. So, long story short, this little incident made him conclude the deal with his original distributor, and that Walt had no rights to the Oswald character. He wanted to really go with Universal and get away from Mintz, but both weren't having it. So Walt was left once again with nothing for his little studio. Walt, even so, he did learn quite a bit about the business world and how to play hardball and entertainment. So, I mean, he was just like a 27-year-old kid this time. I mean, yeah, so Walt, ashamed, hopped on a train from New York to go back to Los Angeles. He had to start again from scratch, but how soon could he do it? How could he get himself back on track after losing out to Mintz? Could the comeback start to begin right on that same train ride? He never knew where it would take him, but it was going to be one heck of a comeback. Yeah, it's I kind of miss the days where I didn't really grow up in the days where we traveled by train. The only big train ride I ever really did was from Alabama to New Orleans.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't even know there was a train that went there.
Yeah, I think Amtrak still does like passenger coach systems.
Yeah. In Europe, I've ridden a lot of trains. In Sweden, I always ride trains. And then when I was in backpacking in Southeast Asia, I went on overnight trains.
Oh,
so that's trains for 10 hours at a time. That was pretty crazy.
Maybe they might be a good idea just to bring the trains back. It might be a little more elegant or sophisticated way to travel compared to just getting on a little plane and then I had to do the plane thing with the Atlanta to LA bit.
Mm-hmm.
And
What about Charlie?
about Charlie?
That guy's like over in like on one of them streetcar trolleys,
Oh, you mean Charles Mintz or something like that? Because
I don't know. I meant like streetcars and in general. Have you ever tried one of those? I don't think I've had yet.
I've seen a streetcar over and a little bit in San Francisco, but then again, it wasn't like a default streetcar or really old streetcar. It's not me. It's not like you can go backwards in time and experience it like it was long ago.
Unless you're on Main Street USA. They do have those snippets of
streetcar and on Disneyland, same principle. So but for some reason, every time I read the name Charles Mintz, I keep on thinking Charles Muntz. Adventure is out there.
Yeah, when I saw the name Mints on the cartoon title, I kept thinking like just mints like peppermint, spearmints, those kinds of mints.
Oh yeah, it's definitely an improvement, and it definitely shows what Walt really wanted to do with this character. He definitely felt like he had a personal connection to Oswald or something like that, as if he was going through some of the same struggles that this rabbit was going through when he was trying to figure out a way to figure out ways to solve a problem, such as trying to get a goat to push the trolley up the hill, and then getting.
Yeah, it looked like it had like a lot of various camera angles with like the actions going on there, and but I don't think they weren't even focusing on like camera angles in cartoons those days.
Well, that's one thing that made that's one thing that made these shorts different. They definitely had a certain unique quality to them. Walt figured out a way to make cartoons that looked at the time more sophisticated than just what was coming out.
Looked like a third-rate car or cut out.
Yeah, what was coming out from other studios, Felix the Cat, or the Fleischer Studios, other people he seemed to look up to during the early days of animation. He thought he could try to be better than them, like taking the techniques that they've invented and improving upon them, or just making them better, or maybe inventing some new techniques. But definitely something that he was able to pull off. But he didn't even have a mouse. No, he didn't have the rabbit no more. So he definitely needed to create an alternative. He needed he needed something that would take Oswald's place, since he didn't have Oswald anymore. So next week, Walt, in his hour of desperation, conceives and draws one of the most beloved and recognized characters in the world.
Yep, I get into that milestone, Julia.
Mickey. So
Yeah.
Speaking of which, didn't Oswald team up with Mickey Mouse in one of the video games?
Epic Mickey? Yeah.
Oh, no way. So did Walt?
It's like an Epic Mickey 2, where you can have like a 2-player co-op thing going on.
Oh. Did Walt Disney come up with Mickey on that train ride then? Or he came up with...
Well, I'm going to give you a little more details next week.
Okay, I'll stay tuned.
One step at a time, and I'm thinking for this free sorts, we'll be able to easily get this on a plus. Am I right, Jordan?
It's on Disney's official YouTube channel, believe it or not.
Yeah, well, I was also gonna suggest Disney Plus too, because when I was first trying their streaming service,
I
checking out
know,
the
I
original
know. I
Marvel
mean, the
thing.
really old shorts. If you want to show us shorts on these channels, you definitely need to have the rights, or at least the rights just to
I wasn't
own,
talking
or at
about
least a
defending us
license
for it.
or
I was
anything
talking
like
about
that.
like resourcing, how what we usually do in the club, like watch the
Yeah,
same
yeah, definitely.
back here in the
So
next week.
I obviously was using YouTube links, and archive.org. Well, archive.org is another good place for stuff that wouldn't go on Disney Plus. And we're gonna have one of the significant moments of Disney to be on archive.org. So
No spoilers, Jordan.
yeah, no spoilers. So next week we'll see how Walt ends up creating such a unique, beloved character and the first sound cartoon.
How exciting. A
Okay.
momentous occasion.
Okay,
Yeah,
bye.
yeah,
Well, I'm going to watch the big game tonight with my brother. That's why I'm wearing red.
don't talk about the big college game. I mean, my parents are torn between the TCU and the UGA.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I know my brother's coming here. We're gonna have a good time and watch the game on the
That's
TV.
awesome.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Anyway,
All
I'm
right.
gonna make
I
my
mean,
own
it's
dinner.
national championship, so there
Okay.
is gonna be some sneak peek of Ant-Man Quantumania, whatever the
Whoa.
heck it is.
It's a Marvel
A
thing.
Marvel movie. Yeah, I know it's a Marvel movie, but it's kind of a multiverse thing. They try to hype it up and stuff, but someone's gotta get a lot of Disney back on track.
Maybe it'll
Marvel
be
back on
Yeah,
track too. Yes, definitely.
I was that we're trying to keep things on stuff. You still bring out too much information.
Okay,
because it's fun to chat with friends.
definitely. I'm going to. Okay,
Talk to you soon.
talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
Later.